In 2017, a discovery in a remote Moroccan mine quietly shifted everything we thought we knew about ourselves. Archaeologists uncovered fossilized human remains. When they ran the dating tests, the results left the scientific community stunned. The bones were 305,000 years old. But it wasn't just their age that was startling, it was their shape. The lead paleoanthropologist noted that if you put a hat on one of these ancient humans and met them on a modern subway, you wouldn't look twice. Their faces were fundamentally identical to yours and mine. They had the same capacity for thought, the same vocal tracts for language, the same hands capable of intricate craft. And this is where we run into a profound architectural paradox. Mainstream history tells us that civilization is a relatively recent invention. It says we spent roughly 294,000 years living as nomadic hunter-gatherers, tracking game and sleeping under the stars. Then, suddenly, roughly 6,000 years ago, a switch flipped. We began building cities, writing laws, pooling labor, and charting the stars. Why the massive lag? Why did an anatomically modern human, with a brain identical to a modern rocket scientist, look at a blank landscape for nearly 300,000 years before deciding to build a brick wall? Alternative researchers, most notably Graham Hancock, suggest a different narrative. They argue that we didn't just wake up 6,000 years ago. They suggest we had already climbed the mountain of civilization once before and fell off.
11,600 years ago, global temperature shoots up. The last of the ice caps collapse into the sea. Sea level rises enormously. That is precisely the date that Plato gives for the destruction of Atlantis.
If you look at the mythologies of cultures separated by vast oceans, cultures that, according to Orthodox history, could never have broken bread together, you notice a strange, recurring echo. They all remember a flood. In Mesopotamia, the Epic of Gilgamesh describes a torrential downpour that turned humanity to mud and submerged the mountains. In the Hebrew Bible, Noah builds an ark to survive a divine deluge. Across the Atlantic, the Maya Popol Vuh speaks of a great rain of resin that darkened the face of the earth and destroyed an early, flawed version of humanity. In India, the Satapatha Brahmana tells the story of Manu, who is warned by a mythical fish of a great washing away of all living things, forcing him to build a ship. Mainstream anthropologists usually dismiss these stories as psychological archetypes, a universal human fear of water or localized river floods exaggerated over millennia of oral storytelling. It is easy for us to feel invincible in our modern world. We assume that because we have mapped the globe and stored our knowledge on digital servers, our memory is permanent. But history is terrifyingly fragile. Imagine for a moment that a massive global cataclysm happened today. A solar flare, a comet strike, or a nuclear winter that instantly wipes out our power grids and sets us completely back to the Stone Age. Imagine that anyone born after this day will be part of a generation that never experiences the internet, electricity, or modern medicine. In the first few decades, the surviving adults will sit around campfires. They will tell their children stories about a world where humans could speak to someone across an ocean through a glowing piece of glass. They will describe metal birds that flew through the clouds and giant steel towers that touched the sky. To those children growing up in a brutal, primitive world, these accounts will sound strange, but they will believe them because they trust their parents. But then, those adults pass away. The children grow up and have their own kids. This is the second generation after the cataclysm. They have no direct contact with anyone who actually saw the old world. When they hear the stories from their parents, who only heard them as bedtime tales, the nuance is lost. The internet becomes a magic web. The airplanes become flying gods. The steel towers become monuments to the heavens. By the third or fourth generation, the historical truth has completely evaporated. The factual accounts are no longer history. They are myths. They are legends. Is it possible that this exact cycle has already played out before? Could it be that we are not the pinnacle of human achievement, but simply the latest group to wake up from a deep sleep? Perhaps our ancient myths are not creative poetry at all. Perhaps they are the distorted, faded memories of a world we simply forgot. Thank you for spending your time with me today and for staying until the very end of this journey. If you're still watching, it means you're someone who appreciates looking at our history a bit differently, not just accepting the standard text, but asking the harder questions about where we truly came from. If this perspective resonates with you, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. It takes a significant amount of research to put these deeper videos together, and your support is the only way this channel grows. Before you go, I genuinely want to know your thoughts. Do you think we are a species with amnesia, or do you believe mainstream history has it right? Leave a comment below. I read every single one of them. Until next time, stay curious.